Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today, in Until we react to WickedBinge, Good to Evil. Now I personally want to see what this becomes because I've seen all of this. Sonic has been learning his ways, so for me, there's no spoilers. But before we continue, spoilers for anyone who have not seen Sonic Prime, I'd recommend go and see it. For more seasons, there's infinite possibilities you could do. Also, until they need to know if it's going to be doing well for obvious reasons. So, go if you want to support Sonic Stampede, or if you want it to keep going on, go watch it now on Netflix. Here we go. Anyway, let's go and react.
Sonic Prime has finally premiered, and it has familiar faces as well as alternate versions of them. Some of them are good, some are pretty evil, and others fall somewhere in the middle. Today, we'll be analyzing these characters to see where they fall on the morality spectrum. I'm Kyle with WickedBinge, and this is Sonic Prime Season 1 characters.
I'm not confused about when 9 would go, because 9 wants to be by herself, but he also wants to be friends with Sonic. This is just gonna leave for an awkward place. I'm gonna call this before way like 9. Then I'm gonna have a confused way for Tails.
Good to evil. Now, a couple quick points to make before we begin. We'll only focus on characters that played a prominent role in the story thus far, and we'll also treat each alternate version of a character as their own character. And lastly, spoilers ahead. As usual, we'll be
spoilers ahead if you've not seen Sonic Prime. I recommend you go and see it if you want more Sonic Prime stuff, because they're not going to do it if it's not becoming popular.
Starting with the most noble character and working our way down to the most evil. The characters in this first category are the good. Receiving the gold medal of good, to no surprise, is our main hero himself, Sonic.
And he also learns a lot. While
it's true he could have prevented most of what happened in the show if he listened to his friends in the first episode,
but he also realizes his guilt.
He still had good intentions. Sonic traverses to many worlds and encounters various versions of the people he knows.
We're gonna fix it, because we got the whole band back together.
While it takes him
there could be one way of how they could do it with this normal squad. Once he goes back to their world and gets a gem, he shows them and they try to harness the power of the sword, and after that, that's when they sort.
A little while to start comprehending what's going on. He doesn't wait around and tries to help out whoever he meets. In New York City, he helps the rebels fight the Chaos Council, helps all the people he meets in the forest world reconcile with each other, and assists the pirate versions of his friends as well. This is all done with little to no hesitation. Even when he ends up causing any problems in the story,
he still wants to try to help.
Speeds back into action to try to fix it. Taking the silver medal of good will actually be a group. Sonic's friends, Amy, Tails, Knuckles, and Rouge.
Yeah, they are good people, and they didn't really have that much.
These guys don't have a lot of screen time, but they make the most of what they have. In the opening of the season, they're already seen trying to fight off Eggman, stopping his latest plan. As the season progresses, we get more and more pieces of the events that happened leading up to the moment the Paradox Prism was shattered. Almost every moment has them working together or figuring out a plan as they approach their next Eggman encounter. Tails gets a couple of extra points here, despite Tails' warning not to attack the robot on the edge of the cliff. Sonic does anyways,
Tails probably does get X points.
To Eggman getting what he wants. Tails is obviously annoyed by this, as he initially won't look at Sonic when he first walks into his shop. After Sonic apologizes though, Tails quickly forgives him. It may not seem that heroic at face value, but it can take a lot to do that sometimes, so good for him. Taking the bronze medal of good are both Renegade Knux and Rebel Rouge.
This time you're doing 2 in 1.
These are the ones that Sonic meets after winding up in New York City. The scenario they're in is quite similar to Sonic Forces, in that they're holed up in a
I've not played Sonic Forces yet.
secret location as they try to lead a rebellion against the forces of Eggman, or Eggmen in this case. They want to
Yeah, Eggman. The baby. That's just so funny.
work with their team to take down the city and
Yes. The baby part is just so funny.
restore the forest to what it once was, freeing all of the citizens. The citizens are miserable, but they get a glimpse of hope when the robots shut down briefly. They just need a beacon of hope to keep fighting, and that can be found in Renegade Nux and Rebel Rouge. Following next on this wave of heroes are the pirate crew, consisting of Sails, Batten, Catfish, and Black.
Yeah. Pause. And most of these just gonna be versions of Sonic friends. If so, that's kind of understandable. The only one is Rusty Rose. This is probably on my evil skill. So I'd see that after, but I'm pretty sure I know what happened.
Rose. If you're looking for a loyal pirate crew, these guys have you covered. No matter what happens, they always follow their captain, even when they want to do things that they're visibly reluctant towards doing. Such as sing a shanty, they still take part. After Sonic arrives, they do whatever they can to help him. Once they see Sonic confronting the old crew, they get the courage needed to fight alongside him. When Rusty
Yeah, that is nice.
Rose shows up, they
Who will be getting later, or who will be evil?
stand their ground as best they can, regardless of the danger involved, in order to help Sonic. They may not have their own personal goals exactly, but their drive to help others is really a thing to take note of. Returning back to original versions of
I wouldn't say Knuckles, but
characters, our next entry is Big the Cat. Big is
yeah, Pig is definitely cool.
in a similar boat to the other original heroes since he also doesn't get a ton of screen time. However, unlike the others, he doesn't take nearly as big of an advantage of that. Most of the time, he's just sitting around, possibly fishing as well. This version of Big doesn't really do much else. He does at least cheerfully forgive Sonic after the
Well, Big does normally not do a lot in any Sonic games, I'm pretty sure.
latter runs into him. We have no doubt that Big is a good
Unless there's mods.
guy, so hopefully an eventual season 2 will give him something more to do. Our final character in the category
Yeah, hopefully Big gets a part. He definitely deserves it. I know this YouTube will definitely be involved.
of good is the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog. For the most part,
Yeah, he's just mad at Sonic for saturing the world, but that's what Shadow does every single day, so...
Shadow could be considered to be doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. The only interactions he really has with anyone are with Sonic, and it's mostly them fighting each other. Being rivals, it's implied that they've duked it out many times before.
Yeah,
The season even ends with another of their fights about to start, as Sonic moves fast enough to go through the Shadowverse. Shadow intercepts it, tells him their home is gone, and punches Sonic one more time. Shadow may have been trying to figure out the situation and looking to keep it from getting worse, but if he worked with Sonic more, as opposed to fighting him whenever they came face to face, he easily could have come across as more heroic.
yes, and this explains why, Sonic couldn't really save that much.
With the good characters wrapped up, we now move into more neutral territory. These characters fall in the gray area. Our first entry in this category is Main
No,
Tails.
all the Tails, I was gonna say 9. But okay.
This version of Tails is found in the forest world that Sonic travels to. Like with the other characters he's with, Mangy
I feel like Tails is gonna be the most... There's gonna be lots of Tails in the neutral area. Anyway.
Tails does help Sonic through the forest area, especially after he agrees to go up against the monster on the forest floor. However, he does contribute a bit to the problem that led to this monster being the way they were. What keeps him from going any lower is his primitive nature. He doesn't appear to be able to think at the same level as others, so he would have a tougher time realizing that what he's doing is wrong. Next up are the rest of Mangy Tails' friends, Prim Rouge, Hangry Cat, and Gnarly Knuckles. These guys are in a very similar boat to Mangy.
Yeah. Fatigue.
would have a tougher time realizing that what he's doing is wrong. Next up are the rest of Mangy Tails' friends: Prim Rouge, Hangry Cat, and Gnarly Knuckles. These guys are in a very similar boat to Mangy Tails in terms of how they help Sonic since he helps them, along with how they contribute to what happens with the monster. What puts them a step lower is that they're able to think on a more advanced level. If they stopped for a second to realize what they were doing and not act as greedy as they had, the conflict
What happened?
may have never happened. Even after the conflict does start, they don't even attempt to try and fix it. They just live in fear, constantly calling the other character the monster, when they had almost as much to do with the problem as the monster themselves. With Sonic's help, they do eventually resolve the matter, but it doesn't hide the fact that much of what happened could have easily been prevented by them. Now it's time to talk about the monster themselves, that being Thorn Rose. Thorn Rose is the Forest World's version of Amy. She has just as much to do with the problems faced in that story arc as the others, and possibly a little more. While she was understandably upset that the rest were taking more from the forest than they were giving back, what she
He did end up having a attack. He could just talk, but he ended up nearly killing everybody. Yes, he nearly killed everybody.
Of doing in response to this was not helpful towards solving the matter. She decided that the best thing to do at that point was to knock the others away with her hammer, forcing them to live in the treetops. At the same time, she kept looking to let the forest grow, keeping anyone from going down there again. She eventually succeeds in this, which only leads to more problems. She claimed to be helping the forest, but keeping the forest floor from having any natural sunlight only made it worse. She found this out when Sonic ripped a hole through the tree, causing sunlight to pour down on another tree that was beginning to wilt.
Well, it was the palm tree that was connected to everything.
All I ever wanted was to protect the green.
She also contributes towards resolving the matter after this, but like with the other characters, she could have prevented the bigger issues by just trying a bit harder to talk it out more.
Nine's gonna be next, isn't he? I call it Nine's next. Nine's definitely one of the good guys.
Very least, acting so aggressively and smacking everyone away on the regular with a big hammer puts her a step down.
Yeah, I don't get this. Why is the other versions of Amy not Fangirly?
From the others. Going from one version of Amy to another, we now get to Rusty Rose.
How is Rusty Rose there? How is Nine not before Rusty Rose? Because Nine backstory is he's just trying to help Sonic, but he doesn't want to help the people in that city because of his backstory. Rusty Rose, on the other hand, was created by the Robotniks. I just want to hear what you say.
This is a mostly robotic version of Amy found in New York City. She is mostly seen helping out the Chaos Council, thus contributing towards the misery of this dystopian city.
And this is what I'm saying.
What helps her stay out of the evil category comes when she is briefly reprogrammed. During this time, she is helping out the heroes and fighting off the Council's robots.
Yes, but obviously that would... Guys, obviously that would be... Obviously that would be... What? Obviously when they'll wipe us off reprogrammed, they can be good.
She does revert back to her former self, but this brief segment helps her quite a bit.
Time for you to go down with your ship.
This tells us that she'll do whatever she is programmed to do, regardless of whether it's good or bad.
Who knows, maybe see her on Celeste next time.
Also gets some points of good after she decides to call off the attack on the pirate crew after seeing Black Rose.
Yeah.
If Nine, or anybody else for that matter, can find a more permanent way to keep Rusty Rose from doing bad things again in later seasons, she might end up being a hero at some point. We now
maybe.
return to the world of the pirates
Nine deserves this.
as we talk about Knuckles the Dread.
I'm good. Stop you right there. Nine deserves to be in the good area.
Pirate crew needs a captain,
Nine deserves to be around the good area, or near the neutral.
and this version of Knuckles takes that role.
In the neutral. That house is not evil.
For his backstory, we see that he hasn't exactly been the best captain ever.
Yeah. No, but Nine's way better than him.
While he did have a loyal crew at first, they left him after they saw that they meant nothing to him when compared to the treasure he was after. He does seem to do better later with the crew we're more familiar with, but that only goes so far. He does at least act as though he cares for them throughout most of the story. He loses a few points near the end though. Once they pursue the treasure again, Knuckles the Dread pretty much reverts back
Yeah, his greediness.
his former self and throws any concern he really has for his crew overboard the closer he gets to that treasure. Once he has his hands on the treasure, that's all he can think about. Hopefully, future seasons give him a chance to redeem himself a little bit. Side note, one of the members of the old crew is voiced by none other than YouTuber Jacksepticeye.
Nothing beats sticking it to our old captain.
Wait, Jacksepticeye? Hold on, let me just hear.
Bit. Side note, one of the members of the old crew is voiced by none other than YouTuber Jacksepticeye.
Nothing beats sticking it to our old captain.
Wow. I never knew this.
Our final version of Tails we'll discuss is also the final entry in the gray area, and he calls himself 9. Throughout his backstory, we
I think it's a bit high up the list, but okay.
find out that 9 mostly keeps to himself because of the way he has been treated by others. That's certainly understandable. However, this also leads him to act a bit selfishly. After Sonic touches the shard and vanishes, 9 takes it with him and uses it to transport himself to a world where no one else resides, leaving the others behind to continue the rebellion without him. It was only due to the persuasion from Sonic that led him to come back and help, though he still seemed a bit hesitant about it.
When this is over, I'm going home and never looking back.
By the end, he's been captured by the Chaos Council, so he's still in New York City. Hopefully he'll learn to work well with others more in some way. With our gray area complete, we now enter the dark side. These characters are the bad and the evil. Our first of 2 entries in this category is the one and only Dr. Eggman. Like with
And normal Dr. Eggman, not Mr. Docket. That sounds weird.
most of the original versions of our heroes, Eggman doesn't get a lot of time to shine. But when he's there, he is causing trouble. He's once again on a quest to find an item of seemingly limitless.
Talking about that, I remember seeing something about saying Eggman's not evil. It's something to do with the Sonic game that I hope you will get for Christmas. That is Sonic Frontiers.
Power, which is the Paradox Prism in this case. He's able to fool Sonic into destroying one of his robots, which helps blow up the area of the mountain where the prism is.
Thank you for the earthquake, Sonic.
Once the prism breaks, we don't see much of him. However, just the fact that he fights the good guys, looks for another source of power to control the world with, and doesn't have any redeeming qualities to balance things out, shows that he doesn't intend to do any good anytime soon. And finally, we've reached the baddest of the bad. And we actually have to break this gold medal of evil into 5 pieces, because they go to each member of the Chaos Council. The group consists of Mr. Dr. Eggman, Mr.
The one I was mentioning about, that old thing.
Dunnit, Mr. Deep, Dr. Don't, and Dr. Babble.
Yeah, I remember the thing. Sonic was like, not the baby. Yeah, that's funny.
Notice very quickly by both their names and appearances that these are all different versions of Dr. Eggman. While we don't know yet how or why 5 different versions of him are in one place, just the fact that they're all based on Eggman means bad news.
Maybe it's this city politics.
Run that dystopian
Makes sense why it's New York.
city of New York. Unlike our Eggman, who is still trying to take over the world in his overarching story, these Eggmen pretty much already have. Everyone but them appears to be miserable, and they're always on a quest for more power.
Imagine what we could do with 2 shards.
Really?
Once they find out more about the shards and their capabilities, they steal Nine's tech and use it to gain access to other worlds. Not only does this mean they can control their own world, they now have an opportunity to do so to multiple other worlds. Considering the residents of New York City alone all seem to be devastated and afraid to step out of line even slightly, we can only imagine how bad the Chaos Council would make life for
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
many other people. But let us know in the comments section if you agree, and tell us who your favorite Sonic Prime character is.
Okay, I disagree with where 9 said. First of all, what do you always be around in the evil era? So I say, what do you always swaps with 9? Yeah, 9 swaps with Rusty Rose. And that's all I disagree with. Because I don't agree with this and all that. But let's just play that clip again so I can get in a short, whoever that is. Oh god.
He does seem to do better later with the crew we're more familiar with, but that only goes so far. He does at least act as though he cares for them throughout most of the story. He loses a few points near the end though, once they
Sorry, I wanted to play this end this video off with... Find it.
to redeem himself a little bit. Side note,
Let's go. I'm gonna play this, let's put the end in.
one of the members of the old crew is voiced by none other than YouTuber Jacksepticeye.
Nothing beats sticking it to our old captain.
Our
I didn't know that. Wait, he's Canadian? Because I'm pretty sure the reason 13 voices is to do with Canadian people. But okay. Anyway, have a good day. I'm a bit confused. Anyway, bye bye. I'm gonna set them up.